Hello, everyone. All right, let's see what I could do to do our 10-minute presentation. Just gonna kind of follow my notes here for this exercise. Let's see. For me, since we met last in Pasadena, in regards to my journey, um, when we met, I talked about sort of the turning point in my life toward God, and that was a unexpected encounter in prison of my first time volunteering while my dad was also incarcerated, and that experience was shattering. It was astounding. Um, and it ultimately led me into doing as much of prison ministry as I can. Um, since our journey, that encounter that I experienced in prison has spread throughout the rest of my life, mostly through spiritual practices. And so, taking that moment and how it affected my life in ministry, now I'm beginning to see God in all things, the mundaneness in life, and in my secular work, in my family, and everything that I do. It's about, where is God in this? And so when we met last time, there was a real struggle within me to find my calling. Not everyone, but a lot of people in our cohort see so clearly their calling, and a lot of them are in full-time ministry. And that was a real struggle for me. I'm bivocational, so I do prison ministry, but during the day, I lead a software development team in public health. And so it felt like for me, there was something missing. But with my day job, there has been a real turn this last year that really began when we were approached to develop an application that coordinates care between hospitals and local community resources to take care of issues like food scarcity, transportation, shelter, that sort of thing. And so this would be the first technology platform in the States here that would accomplish care in that manner. Right around that same time, my sister was admitted into the hospital. She experienced cardiac arrest and was living in a hotel. And so I began in a real way to try to manually do what our technology would ultimately do. And that was trying to work with her caseworker to make sure she was sheltered and cared for, and was able to do dialysis after leaving the hospital and having very, very limited resources. And so the collision of these two things really began to touch my heart in a different way, and it was yet, I guess you could say, another encounter. Coming out of that, or at the tail end of that, the coronavirus, COVID-19, hit the U.S. And suddenly I found myself right in the middle of it. And so public health, something that was so foreign to me not that long ago, suddenly took on a different meaning. And I so clearly now see that I'm right at the center of where God wants me, and what I'm called to do. And so that was a major change from the last time we met together. Prayer for me would be really related to helping my sister and my niece. There's a lot of work to do to try to help them have another chance and to restart and to get the help that they need. And so I need a lot of prayer there, and that's what I would reach out to the group uh, in regards to. The second part of our discussion has to do with our paper. Um, my thesis, I'm just going to go ahead and read. My thesis is through marginalized led theological dialogue, creating a culture of self acceptance and belonging. God's redemptive activity provides innovative power to the oppressed in order to participate in their own liberation, generate systematic change, and create new theological horizons. So, again, my thesis is through marginalized led theological dialogue, creating a culture of self acceptance and belonging, God's redemptive activity provides innovative power to the oppressed in order to participate in their own liberation, generate systematic change, and create new theological horizons. Part of my working outline will be looking at how the church, as sort of a fringe organization, can create culture, which creates change. So let me kind of walk you through a little bit of what I'm thinking about for my outline. First point would be church creates cultural goods that creates culture. The second, church cultural goods is created out of weak power. Third, cultural goods of new ideals and new solutions redeem the world. And that, for me, is something that I began to notice in doing research throughout MAGL. I was very disappointed and surprised that a lot of there aren't many Christian voices that are participating in research across the world. We do a lot of philosophical work, but there aren't many out in the forefront doing research. For example, I looked at deaths of despair, the opioid epidemic here in our country, and I read a lot of incredible works out there, but I didn't run across one Christian researcher or professor that was understanding the root causes behind that epidemic, and we're proposing solutions. So as this would kind of be central, I think, to my paper, the church or an institution or organization of the church actually out there researching, generating new ideals, and implementing new solutions that would take care of issues like the opioid epidemic or poverty or any kind of given community problem in your area or across the country. Okay, little side note there. Another point would be culture changes us, and we change culture. Thereby, the world changes. So, looking at how culture actually changes us as people and as groups. There's some interesting, even scientific research in this area about how culture rewires the brain. And whatever cultural good the church would create through research, ideals, and solutions, that good, its intended purpose would be for the oppressed to liberate themselves. So whatever that good is, that good itself would be a good in the hands of the oppressed so that they could liberate themselves. And maybe I'll kind of wrap it up there. I've got a few other parts in the outline that I'm taking a look at, but that gives you an idea of the possibilities of the paper. Coming out of that, You know, I'd follow the remaining outline that's noted in the syllabus, but that would be the main body of the paper for this class. So, well, very good. I'm at 10 minutes. I want to be very, very careful about that. So God bless you all. I look forward to your questions. Thank you.